With Shallot being discovered by Beerus, and Cumber being discovered by Turles, we enter the final act of the story. Everything's finally coming together. We'll be covering all that and more in this 10th part of What If the Saiyans Were Good. Kakarot eventually does return home, but he will be going back to Earth soon enough. He has kind of an obligation there now. He doesn't exactly say what because it's hard to explain, but Bardock and Gine look surprised, and then Raditz chimes in. He and that woman, huh? It's gotta be because of that. Well, yeah, it's because of that. Raditz slaps his brother on the back. Good for him. Anyways, Kakarot did find out while on the planet that they actually have their own set of Dragon Balls too. They still do need to get rid of Frieza though and sort everything else out because it would be kind of pointless to revive the Saiyans if they all just die immediately after. Although a lot of time has passed and Vegeta's getting pretty antsy. He wants to get them revived soon. But Shallot actually has returned alongside with Giblet. Only temporarily though, they went back to the planet right after. But they found out something pretty interesting from Whis. Whis decided to look into their origins and consulted the Namekian Book of Legends for this. Per Beerus' request, of course. This was only one of the sources that he looked at, but he found out that the Super Saiyan God could actually be brought about through a ritual. And from what it sounds like, Shallot accidentally was part of the Super Saiyan God ritual. By now, Giblet actually has Super Saiyan God as well. Although he unlocked it through training, Shallot accidentally did the Super Saiyan God ritual. So yes, it is still part of their blood, but theoretically, they could do the Super Saiyan God ritual on everybody else. And even though the Saiyans are good, they're still warriors at heart and they would probably want to grow on their own accord. Although they don't really have too much of a choice, they kinda do need to do the Super Saiyan God ritual if they want to keep up with everything happening in the universe right now, especially after sensing Frieza's power up against whoever he was fighting. So now we enter another brief time skip. About 2 years have passed since Baby was defeated. Over this time, Cumber did need to recover, and thanks to Turles' help, he did fully recover. It took a while because he was pretty heavily injured. I mean, the whole reason he got sent to this planet in the first place was because he got defeated by the Super Saiyan God in the past. Not to mention, he was frozen for centuries. Even though Turles did thaw him out, he still needed more. His body was in pretty rough shape, which is good because he's going to grow from healing, but also bad because obviously he was pretty injured, and he needed to get used to his power again. Being frozen for centuries isn't really something he could just brush off right away, no matter his strength. Plus, Turles needed to catch him up to speed on everything, and he wanted to test out Cumber's power, as well as train him up a bit. But still, even with those injuries and the fact that he was frozen, he's resilient. He's a Saiyan after all, and he's back to his full power normal self. Of course, he's grown from it too, so his full power is higher than before. One advantage that Cumber has is the fact that he can actually sense Godly Ki, which surprises Turles because he can't really feel what that is, nor did he even know it existed. As the antithesis to the Super Saiyan God, and being familiar with the Super Saiyan God since he did fight him before, Cumber can vaguely feel that power whenever it does pop up, and recently it's been popping up more and more. Which means he of course wants to seek it out because if he's sensing it this far away, that means the Super Saiyan God is not only active, but really strong. And he feels like the power is coming from multiple sources. He's not really too sure though, and the only way to know for sure is by actually seeking it out. So, Cumber and Turles head out once more, and after all this time, they finally find the settlement where the Saiyans are. They can't believe it. And there's a good amount of Saiyans here too. Sure, it's not a lot, but an entire group of Saiyans all together. This is great. Well, at least in Turles' eyes. Cumber views them as enemies until proven otherwise. In Turles' eyes though, every Saiyan is an ally to him, even if they don't share the same motives, and he is a bit worried. He doesn't really know if unleashing Cumber was the right thing, because while Turles is an evil conqueror, Cumber is just really evil. There's nothing redeeming about him. He probably would have killed Turles for fun if they didn't share the same energy, and they weren't both related evil Saiyans. But despite Turles' own evil nature, he is a little bit more pragmatic, so he makes the first contact with the Saiyans. Immediately they're a bit suspicious because this power of his feels very familiar. They don't see his full power right away, but something about his key signature feels like they've sensed it before. And it takes them a bit, but they eventually figure out that this is who is fighting Frieza. Well, at least they know he's a fellow Saiyan and not an enemy. Hopefully. I mean, his ki does feel evil. Also, weirdly enough, he looks exactly like Bardock and Kakarot. Turles says it's mere coincidence. He's not related to those two as far as he knows. He tells them all about how he fought Frieza, and he knows now that Frieza's back. He regrets not handling that as he should have because Frieza was right there. He could have gotten the kill and finished it, but he got too sloppy. But anyways, he wants to band together with the Saiyans. He's been looking for them for a while, and unlike Frieza, it's not to destroy them. Well, unless they give him a reason to, but he doesn't say this out loud. He proclaims he'll lead the Saiyans to prosperity if they embrace their warrior side. He could tell they're clearly powerful, but they're holding themselves back. He's gotten in touch with his own roots, and while it's different from these Saiyans, he feels like they're wasting their potential. But Vegeta then steps up. He won't be leading the Saiyans anywhere. Vegeta already is their leader, and he can tell something's fishy about this whole thing. Sure, they might both be Saiyans, but he can feel that evilness within Turles, as well as that other guy. Turles isn't looking for a fight. All Saiyans are his allies. He was simply proposing a truce between the two of them. But then Cumber steps up. He can't take any more of this. This prince is a weak excuse for a prince. Turles told him everything that happened. It's his father's fault that the planet was destroyed. King Vegeta was a weakling. They should have acted sooner. The Saiyans used to be much better when they were actually warriors. But then they became too passive. They developed a set of morals. They could have been far stronger if they were their true warrior selves like before. That war between the good and evil Saiyans set them back. The Saiyans were too complacent and docile, and they still are. They should rule the universe, not Frieza. And with Vegeta's leadership, they surely won't be doing that. To prove a point, he tries to attack Vegeta, but Vegeta effortlessly catches his attack. Something's off about the Saiyan. He's really strong just in base, and it causes Vegeta to flash in his Super Saiyan God just to catch the attack, but still, he does catch it effortlessly. And Cumber's taken aback at first, same with Turles. So this was what they were sensing. All along it was Vegeta, the Super Saiyan God. Immediately this gives Cumber flashbacks to what happened before. Vegeta's his enemy. Vegeta would love to welcome more Saiyans here, but clearly these Saiyans have different ideals in mind. And he agrees with Turles too. He'd rather not fight. But if they need to, then so be it. Cumber's enraged. He instantly powers up and starts a fight with Vegeta. And Turles tries to stop it. Things are getting out of hand, but he has already decided that Cumber is his ally. Plus, the Saiyans are definitely not going to accept him as easily since he brought Cumber here, so it looks like he'll have to fight. What a shame. He really didn't want it to come to this. He powers up into his evil Saiyan form, with Cumber using the same type of power. But then, the rest of the Saiyans start transforming, and Cumber's shocked beyond belief. Around him, every Saiyan's hair changes color. That same reddish hue that he saw from before when the Super Saiyan God defeated him all those years ago. And he feels that same godly ki. Weirdly enough, some of them don't turn red, some of them turn blue, with Vegeta being one of the ones to turn blue. Although there's one that's unlike the others, one who hasn't gotten the Super Saiyan God form yet because they were kind of scared of how it would affect him. Even though in reality, it would probably be the best thing for him. It's another pretty large Saiyan. His hair turns green. It's Broly, using his full power form. And yet, even without a God form, he still is one of the strongest Saiyans here. Not to mention he has spirit control to go along with it, and if he needs to heal others and act as support, he could do that too. Seeing all these Super Saiyan gods just enrages Cumber even further. He hasn't even met Shala and Giblet yet. These have to all be false Super Saiyan gods because they don't look like they're related to the one he fought in the past. But he's grown far stronger since then. Even if he needs to take on multiple at once, he will. He's then attacked by Broly, noticing that his power is growing alongside his rage. He thinks the two of them are similar, but Cumber says there's no way they are. Broly is far too good-hearted. Cumber's pure evil. The two clash with a couple other Saiyans helping Broly, and individually, Cumber is stronger than anyone here. But he's fighting an entire army of Super Saiyan gods, with some having Super Saiyan Blue by now. And as that battle's going on, someone attacks Turles. There are actually a couple of Saiyans on him, but one of the main ones attacking him is one that looks exactly like him. It's Kakarot, using Super Saiyan Blue. And the rest of his family follows suit using the same form. Turles feels Cumber's power growing as well as his own, but with this many Super Saiyan Blues and Super Saiyan Gods against him, there's no way they could win. And Kakarot recognizes this. He tries to level with Turles. Retreat now. They don't need to fight. The past is exactly that. The past. They're not enemies anymore. And from what he could tell, Turles seems to be a modern Saiyan, just related to that other guy. He doesn't know why he's so obsessed with the evil Saiyans of the past. Kakarot can obviously tell that Turles isn't a good guy. He doesn't even know what Turles has done, but just from his appearance he could tell he's a conqueror. Just because of that, they should fight him because he's an enemy. Maybe not to them, but everybody else. Although Turles is clearly hesitant, and it's so strange. He knew that he'd have to fight the Saiyans eventually, and after all that he's accomplished, and all his goals that he still has in mind, he knows this is merely a stepping stone, but why does he still harbor that doubt? Why is he hesitant about fighting the other Saiyans? As a Saiyan whose pride stems from his power and his warrior spirit, why does he of all people not want to fight them? He believes that the Saiyans are superior to everybody else, but he also acknowledges the fact that Saiyans that won't stand by him should die. Although now he's feeling way more conflicted than he expected. Seeing the Saiyans face to face for the first time ever, he doesn't know what to think or do. But at the same time he does need Cumber, and he wants more strength for himself. His goals conflict with those of the good Saiyans. Plus, his evil ki and his evil nature is pretty intoxicating. And Kakarot can see that he's kind of striking a nerve with Turles, so he asks the other Saiyans to hold off, just fighting him alone. Kakarot and Turles fight one-on-one, and he reminds Turles that it's two versus a group. Right now, in his fight with Turles, Turles is clearly the stronger one, but Kakarot wants to fight him alone, leveling with him as a Saiyan. He's sure that Turles would love a fair one-on-one fight like this. At full power, nothing held back. Turles does have a lot of power from the Tree of Might, but with the Saiyans now getting this powerful, it's definitely not enough. All the way on Beerus' planet, Shala and Giblet are still training. Even though there's all these other Super Saiyan gods, Beerus has only chosen them to be his rivals because they were the first ones to get the form, and in terms of lineage, they're directly related to the Super Saiyan god of the past. So, Beerus thinks they're special. But they sense this fight going on pretty quickly and decide they want to go there to help. Something big's going down and they can't miss out on it. Now back to New Planet Vegeta. Cumber is nearly defeated by Broly and is surrounded by all these other Saiyan gods. He can feel more power deep within him, but still can't draw it all out. These transformations they're using, he's unfamiliar with them. He only knew about the Super Saiyan God form, and there's no way he could access that. But there has to be more. Grade 8, Super Saiyan, something like that. Or just draw out his power as an evil Saiyan. Keep growing from that alone. Use his rage. Maybe that Saiyan Broly is somewhat similar to him, at least from the sense that they both get power from rage. Although both in very different contexts. Kakarot continues his battle with Turles too. But then, everything stops. Even Turles and Cumber stop fighting. It's like they all feel a shiver down their spine. There's a strong power approaching, and it's rapidly getting closer towards the planet. Paragus looks out into space. Whatever's getting closer isn't a ship, and it's moving really fast. Normally with ships they'd feel a couple of energies all packed together, but it's just one energy. And then as it gets closer and closer, they realize it is someone flying towards the planet, and they can instantly tell whose power it is. Turles simply utters one word: Frieza. And he starts laughing maniacally. Finally, his chance to actually defeat Frieza. Cumber has no sort of relation to Frieza, but he knows him because of Turles. A strong opponent, one who oppressed the Saiyans. He finally lands on the planet, right in the middle of Broly and Cumber. He sensed that power all the way out in space, and it led him right to the Saiyans. He couldn't feel the power of the godly Saiyans, but Turles and Cumber, he could definitely sense that at least. And it's like Christmas morning to him. He's surrounded by all the Saiyans he was looking to find. Maybe there are some others out there, but this was the big group, the one that he was looking for. Not to mention Turles, the one who nearly killed him. And he makes sure to taunt Turles too. He clearly didn't do a good enough job. Cumber has no interest in fighting this guy. He wants to continue fighting the Saiyans, although if Frieza gets in his way, he'll be sure to kill him. Now this is new. Frieza's never seen a Saiyan like this, nor felt the power of a Saiyan like this. Well, besides Turles. He feels like if a Saiyan this strong existed, he would have known about him a while ago. Whis is taking Shallot, Giblet, and Beerus all the way to New Planet Vegeta. Beerus and Whis aren't going to get involved at all, but Beerus at least will watch the showdown. But as they're flying over, Shallot and Giblet can feel something amiss. A new power's arrived. It's Frieza, and he was strong before, but something's different. They need to get there quick. All the other Saiyans feel the same sense of fear. Frieza begins powering up. You see, he hasn't just been twiddling his thumbs this entire time. And he's also learned not to get too confident against the Saiyans because he doesn't know what they have in store. Turles at least is familiar with his golden form, and he powers up to showcase that, but then the shimmer of it begins changing. He's accessed a new stage of power. An intense purple aura surrounds Frieza, and if the Saiyans all watch on with bated breath, this is where we'll leave off for now. What did you guys think about this part? What's going to happen next? Leave your thoughts and ideas in the comments below. I'd love to see what you guys think. As usual, be sure to drop a like and subscribe if you haven't already. It really does help out the channel, and it shows me you want to see more videos like this. Anyways, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all in my next video.